This is Jonathan from Fitness for Freedom. Today we're going to talk about how to do a proper push-up. Now, I think almost everyone knows what a push-up is, but there's different variations and different ways to do a push-up. The easiest way to do a push-up would be on the wall, where you're just standing in front of a wall and pushing out, and then you can either go to the stairs or on your knees for a modified style push-up, and then there's a straight push-up. Now, you can put your hands all different types of directions, but basically the wider you have your hands, the more you use your chest muscles, and the more narrow you have your hands, the more you use your tricep muscles, so the backs of your arms. So where you place your hands determines what muscles you actually use. So some people might say, oh, you have to have your hands in close to do a push-up properly, or oh, it's got to be wide to do it properly. No. They're just different. It's not right or wrong, it's just different. The same way as doing a push-up on the wall is not cheating compared to on the floor. You're just doing the push-up that's right for your level. So I'll demonstrate the floor push-ups and the modified floor push-ups first, and then we'll do a wall and stair push-up after, because I'll have to change the camera angle around. So to do a proper push-up, what I would call a proper push-up, you put your hands directly beneath your shoulders. Okay, so that your shoulders are all over your fingers. Now this is really important. Most people, when they do push-ups, they actually have their hands out front a little bit, which really encourages you to kind of shrug your shoulders as you push up, especially if you're someone who finds push-ups really hard. So that's why I think, especially for beginners or when you're just learning the movement, to have your shoulders over your hands. If you're advanced and you want to put your hands out in front to do like more of a shoulder dominant push-up instead of chest and tricep dominant push-up, then by all means go ahead, but you better have the movement pattern down right, or you'll probably hurt your neck or your shoulders. So hands underneath your neck, or your shoulders. So hands right underneath your shoulders, fingers underneath, so that your shoulder is almost always over the finger the whole time, and you just push yourself straight up. So that's a more narrow style push-up, which is the kind that I like the most because it gives you a good mix between tricep and chest activation. So if I wanted to use my chest a little bit more, I would just widen my hands out. So that's how most people do push-ups, with their hands wider. Chest, your pecs are bigger muscles, so more chest means the exercise is a bit easier. So if you're beginning, I definitely would recommend having a wider hand grip or hand placement so that you're using your chest more, and it makes it a bit easier. Once you become more advanced, then more narrow, because you can bring your hands all the way in. Something that's called a diamond push-up, basically where your thumbs and your fingers touch on the inside, and then you go down and back up. And you're still using your chest, but you use a lot of tricep. So for a modified push-up, basically I'll have you start in the exact same position, okay, and then you just push yourself up from your knees, just like this. Okay, if that still is too hard, I recommend stairs to the wall if you have it, but you could bring your hands in a bit closer, but that actually quadruped style actually ends up being a little bit harder, because you start getting into more of a shoulder press style, and also shrugging up a little bit when you do it, so I would not recommend that. So in just a sec, I'll show you how to do a push-up on the walls and stairs. So here we are for the wall push-up. So one of the biggest mistakes I see people make when they do a wall push-up is they put their hands too high, okay, so that when they go in, their shoulders are below their fingers, when really you should have your fingers below your shoulders, so that you're encouraging yourself to push out from underneath your armpits, which is just a proper movement pattern, especially for beginners. Again, the more advanced you are, the higher you can place your hands, but that gets a lot more challenging to keep your shoulder blades down and back when you're in the start position, and when you're trying to push up and through the movement. Obviously, the further out you have your feet, the harder the exercise is. But also, if you move your feet out, you'll want to lower your hands a little bit, because you'll notice that when you go in, that if you keep your hands up, it actually moves your fingers up on your shoulder, because the further your feet are out from the wall, the lower you will be on the wall with your shoulders. So lower your hands when you move your feet out to make sure you're pushing through the right movement pattern. So here we are in a step. This is probably the most common place that we have our clients do a push-up, because it's the easiest way to do the motion properly, but not as challenging as on the floor. So it's a good mix between proper mechanics and being more challenging, but not too hard for someone to do. So basically, pick your distance for your hands to be on the step, and then you just do a straight push-up down. And once you find that that's too easy, it's really easy. You just go down to the next step, move your feet back, and then you can do the push-up again. And that's why I like the step so much, because it's so. That's why I like the step so much, because it's so easy to see the progression of you getting stronger down the steps. So that's Jonathan from Fitness for Freedom. We have a great push-up program on the website. So if you're starting on the wall and you want to work your way down to the floor, I know everyone's a little bit different, but if you're on the wall to start, I think you might be able to do a full push-up in 6 to 8 weeks, probably, if you stick with the program. So it's Jonathan Champ from fitnessforfreedom.com, and thanks for watching.